Hey, everybody. Welcome on back to the Rubbin is Racing podcast with Spider and Large. We got Mace Large. I'm not Spider. We got Spider in Chicago, Jacob on the ones and twos in Chicago, Moonhead at a remote location, and Quiggs is not here today. He's petitioning the NFL offices. He's fucking pissed about this Bad Bunny thing. I've never seen Quiggs so mad with this whole Bad Bunny thing. And I don't know if he's racist or just doesn't like the movie, like the music. I know Quiggs has dated black guys in the past, so I can't get a fucking grip on this. But either way, Quiggs is not here, so he can go fuck himself. This episode is brought to you by Body Armor Flash IV. Flash IV delivers faster, longer-lasting hydration with over 2,000 milligrams of electrolytes and no artificial dyes, colors, or sweeteners like those of other drinks. So whether you're training, traveling, or just feeling the heat, work hard and hydrate hard with Body Armor Flash IV. Grab yours today at your local 7-Eleven convenience store. Just on a side note, Flash IV is all over this office. I had my kids in here the other day. They stole a case. They love this thing. So especially Finn up in college, he's in Montclair State, just stole a case of it. So college kids wants to steal it, but you guys can go get yours today at any local 7-Eleven. And it's also brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing like a crisp fall night at the ballpark, but trying to get there is just brutal. You're stuck in a queue, prices jump at checkout, you logged out mid-click. All you want to do is be in the stands, beer in hand, yelling at the crowd. The Game Time app gives you the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust you'll get 100% authentic MLB tickets on time and at the best price. Plus, fees are always included, so what you see is what you pay. I was just looking at tickets for Padres Cubs, Spider, and I saw an amazing Game Time deal. I think it was section 106. It was less than $150. I don't know if that seems steep for some people, but for a Chicago Cubs game like this, that's kind of cheap. So Game Time is the place where you should go. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code Rubbin for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code RUBBIN for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. All righty, boys. How's everything going? Welcome back to Rubbin is Racing. Spider, you're just down in North Carolina. I don't think Noah was able to do any golfing with us because of inclement weather, but otherwise, how was it?
Yeah, it was tough. Unfortunately, every time I go to North Carolina, whether it be for a golf tournament or for something like the Barstool Classic, I feel like it's been raining recently. That goes back a couple Coke 600s now. Mm-hmm. And then, last year we did a Barstool Classic in North Carolina as well, and it just pissed the whole time. So a little bit disappointing, but overall still a fun time. It was the last one of the season, so the championship will be upcoming here in Arizona. But a little bummed Noah couldn't make it and that it rained. But overall, still fun. And we saw a great race this weekend. So, yeah, overall good. Everything good.
How we doing, Moonhead?
Doing good.
Yeah?
Great. Yeah.
Nothing to report? How's Spanky?
He's great. He's the diet's working. He's in best shape of his life.
Is he really? Do you have the pig on a diet?
Yeah. I mean, they'll eat as much as you give them and get as fat as you let them. So we kind of had to, for the longevity of his life and his own well-being, we've had to put him on a diet.
Love it. How old is he and how long do they live?
Well, so they can live like 20 years. It depends. 15, I think, is about the median with his breed. He will be, what will he be? He will be, let me do some quick math here. 8.
You do slow math.
In just over a week, actually.
Okay, excellent. Yeah. Well, happy birthday to him. I was just listening to the radio on the way in. Ryan Blaney was on. This year's Larry the Lobster, which Ryan won for the first time, weighed in at 15 pounds. 15 pounds. That's not a tasty lobster. I tend to say, oh, what a great thing, and I want some of it sent to me so I can make a lobster roll. A 15-pound lobster, I'm assuming, tastes like absolute shit.
You think so?
Yeah, 15 pounds. Plus, for a lobster to get that big, it's not genetic. It just means it's been around for a while.
It's old.
Larry the Lobster is 80 years old. He's fucking 80.
You don't think it's one of those things like wine large, like it ages like wine?
No, I think it's like people. I would much rather eat you than eat me, to be honest. That's probably not true because I have so many condiments, right? That maybe I'm more fucking delicious because all the chemicals in me. But otherwise, I got that stringy fucking muscle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So 80 is 80. So Larry the Lobster, I don't think Ryan's eating him, but it's going to take almost a year. It's going to be August of next year before he gets the taxidermied shell put on a plaque as the trophy. So either way, very belated congratulations on winning Larry the Lobster, and rest in peace to Larry and condolences to his family. He fucking traveled around for 80 years and somebody pulled him out of the fucking ocean, put him in front of a bunch of race cars, and then I guess put a knife through his skull. So kind of a brutal side of NASCAR, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. Not on a lighter note, on a more somber note, Tyler Reddick's kid is sick. Rookie Reddick has been having some issues. I know his family, his wife, and he had been pretty transparent on what this stuff is, so I won't get into it now. But, Tyler Reddick's one of our favorite people in the world, much less drivers. So we're sending a lot of love to that family. Tough, I think, to jump into a race car. I've had situations where I've had sick kids too, and I wasn't able to concentrate in my old industry. So I just wish him the best of luck, having focus, and obviously, most importantly, for the little guy to get better. Right?
Absolutely.
He's the guy.
Yeah, best to the Reddick family. We hate seeing that news.
Yeah.
Definitely a little sad.
Yeah, let's get to the racing. Last weekend, Xfinity, Brandon Jones wins, while Connor Zilic has just an extraordinarily disappointing day, finishing only P2. This fucking kid is so good, man. He's so fucking good. I don't know how I'm just expecting so many good things. I had seen something that he's run out of real estate on the front door frame with his window stickers. I put it on the rundown today. It's comical to see 9 of them in a row. Like, they had to move the Exalta sticker for his sponsorship guys off to the side because he's just winning far too many races. What a great problem to have. Champagne problems in Connor Zilic.
Champagne problems for sure. I mean, his car, yeah, like you said, Large, it looks definitely funny. Usually there's like 1 or 2 stickers. Yeah. His literally are overlapping. Like, I would like to see it go all the way around the window at some point. That would be really, awesome. Really ultimate flex. But no, Connor's been awesome. It's great. I mean, I feel like there's so many times we talk about these kids and like the potential of drivers if they were to go to this team or drive this certain number car. Connor seems like the kind of kid that's actually delivered on all the hype and not taking a shot at anyone else. But I can think of a couple of drivers we talked about, like, oh, I think this guy moving and now having this crew chief or this opportunity with this team, they're going to be really successful. And we really haven't seen that. Whereas, it's easy to say how good Connor Zilic is, but I also think you kind of got to step back and give him his flowers because what he's been doing is insane.
Let's talk about him for just a little bit. So you have a kid like Carson Hocevar come up to the Cup Series and sort of dance that line between wearing the black hat and being the hero, right? Like, I think Carson doesn't mind being involved in this shit. Can you ever picture a situation where Connor Zilic, like when Hulk Hogan all of a sudden dyed his beard black and, put on the fucking NWO shit and became a bad guy? I don't know if there's a heel turn for Connor Zilic at all. It doesn't seem like the kid has it in him. He's just a nice fucking guy. You agree with that?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I don't think he'll go heel intentionally either. I think at some point he's young enough and he's hopefully going to be doing this a long time where it's probably inevitable that he finds himself in a situation where like people are having to choose a side, whether they're with Connor or, think whatever he might have done was egregious. Like, I could see a scenario next year where him and SVG are racing for a road course win. And we see something like kind of what we saw this past weekend with teammates or some sort of alliance. And that's going to be tested at some point, which I very much am looking forward to seeing. But I think eventually he will have to answer some kind of criticism. But I don't think, to your point, Large, I don't think it will be like him choosing to go the heel route. I think he'll get a little excited in a race and probably get in over his head and then do something that he has to answer to.
I will tell you right now, if there is a point next season where they're both racing for the win as teammates and SVG puts him into the wall, I think that would be the last straw for me. I would personally do like some sort of, call ice or I don't know what I would do, but I would be so. Conversely, if Connor puts SVG into a wall racing for the win, holy shit, I'm buying one of those fucking expensive Connor Zilic jackets, not like the bullshit windbreakery ones, the ones that are fucking actually made of felt. I'll be all over that fucking guy because SVG's a douche. I love saying it. The guy's the nicest guy in the world. By the way, he just fucking has a P10 on an oval. He's going to take over the fucking world, isn't he?
Large,
SVG?
I know exactly what's going to happen next year. You're going to be rooting for Connor and so much against SVG that I'm just going to be forced to pull for SVG, which whatever, I'll do it.
we'll have two sides.
But I will not say the negative things about Connor like you say about SVG.
No, you won't.
That's the difference.
I'm going to put a gun to your head next year. They're racing neck and neck for a win. Who are you rooting for, Moonhead? Spider's already said he's team SVG, and I'm team Connor Zilic. If you have to pick a side, who are you?
He's going to be
I think I'm gonna have to get. Well, Chastain comes in and cleans both of them out. No, I think I got to go with Zilic just because of the story. It's such a, SVG's so experienced and is already known as like one of the best. It would be really, really cool to see Zilic come in and beat him and kind of do the whole, to beat the best, or to be the best, you have to beat the best deal. So. And we've seen it in Xfinity. I think if Zilic ever catches heat, I think Spider's exactly right. It's going to be a situation where he's going for it with the win. We saw him and SVG tangle in the Xfinity race a couple of times this year. So
Mexico
I could see a situation like that breaking out. But he's so good on the mic that he at least is always he's gonna make you go, well, dang, he didn't mean to do it, or dang, he means well.
He says the right things.
Yeah, whereas I think Hocevar and some of the other guys who maybe wear the black hat, they get out of the car, and like Hocevar at Atlanta said the boy band thing or whatever, which is cool. Like, it's a great tagline, but you're going to get a lot more heat that way, I feel like, than being respectful like Zilic.
And sometimes the respectful stuff gets tired too, like that, oh, shucks. It's almost like everyone says this, I really hate it for that team. Like, I just sent the 23 into the fence. I hate it for the 23 team that I had to send him into the fucking fence. And it just seems so, like, I don't know, saccharine and like sappy and stupid. I'm hoping that this guy navigates the mic as good as we think he's going to. Connor Zilic, I'm talking about. I don't want to not give SVG his flowers, and I really mean it. I think that everyone should be fucking terrified of this guy. A top 10 on an old, and this wasn't one of those top 10s at Kansas where there was a big wreck and he squeaked through and got a top 10. He started in the back, he moved his way forward and ran around the top 10 all fucking race on like a 1.5 mile intermediate that is just, provides us with good racing. This fucking guy is awesome. SVG is awesome, man. The handsome dog, good-looking guy. I mean, again, fuck him right where he breathes, but holy shit, everybody should be afraid of this guy for the rest of the time. So congratulations to him, and just give him some early flowers. Before we move on, going back to that sticker thing, Spider and Moon, I don't like stickers on college football helmets, particularly Ohio State. I don't hate Ohio State. It's nothing personal or anything like that, but I think those stupid Buckeye stickers, if you give out like maybe 1 or 2, it's cool. But you see these guys who have like 30 or 40 of them? Florida State does it too with the Tomahawks. How do you guys feel about that? I think it looks fucking dumb. Don't you?
I think some of the more simple helmets look the best in my opinion. Like, I like the ones that have the numbers on the helmet in college football.
Okay.
And then I also think that a team like Penn State has a very clean uniform look, as much as I actually don't root for Penn State. But like, just the white and blue, simple, basic. I think there's something to be said about the traditional side of things.
I think the stickers are dumb. You fucking Moonhead?
Yeah, I'm with Spider. I lean probably more traditional on that kind of stuff.
I mean, OSU with the stickers, I think they're a big enough school where they kind of can get away with it. But I do tend to agree that a lot of times, like, the stickers make things look like tacky, kind of.
Yeah, it looks like my laptop.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, I'm just fucking throwing random shit on it, as opposed to a classy school. I don't know, like Notre Dame has got the solid gold helmets. My alma mater. So that maybe I'm a little bit fucking biased. John Hunter Nemechek, he chose violence. John Hunter was a little bit aggressive in the Kansas race. It's he just happens to have that name that lends itself to throwing the word wreck in it. Just like, Recce Spinhouse, like John Hunter Rekachek and all that kind of shit, which is kind of easy to do. But he did, I don't know. I just felt terrible for Zane Smith. And even though John Hunter had said after the fact that he explained what happened in the crash, and he said he made an unacceptable mistake, which I love when people own up to it, just saying, hey, I fucked up. Not, oh, I feel so bad for the 38 team, even though he does. He was like, he took accountability and he fucked up. So I hope people give him a little bit of leeway on that before they just go right back to the Rekachek type fucking thing. But the Zane Smith crash, you call it a crash, the Zane Smith incident was wild to watch. almost to the point where I didn't really notice John Hunter come off of that and then also hook fucking Josh Berry, who can't get a fucking break.
Yeah.
Josh Berry is a wheelman, but he's absolute wreckers or checkers. He must have hit a gypsy on the way to a fucking a track at some point. It feels so bad for him. So talk to me about Zane Smith, talk to me about John Hunter, and talk to me about Josh Berry. These three guys were involved in one of the cooler crashes, and I put quotes over cooler because I know that Zane is probably extremely sore this week, but it was still fantastic to watch. And NASCAR did fine Zane Smith $50,000 for riding the wall. So, just like, and I just made that up. They didn't do that at all. So but watching that guy on his side come around like that was something fucking wild to see, and had me, it was one of those like Leonardo DiCaprio moments where I'm like, oh shit, watch that shit. What do you think about that, Spider?
Yeah, no, I feel for Zane Smith and Josh Berry. Obviously I feel like both those guys have been running relatively good recently, especially Berry. We know what the Penske cars were capable of at this track, so I hate it for him. I do think I look back at this incident and I think back to Zane Smith, who I forget what race it was or following what incident, but Zane Smith went on the mic post race and was like, yeah, like John Hunter, I like him off the track, but I got to be honest, he's probably one of the sketchiest drivers to race alongside. So
did he say that before, John Hunter in particular?
He did. He did.
Man,
he
I don't
said
remember
this
that.
probably maybe at least 6 months ago. Maybe I want to say like maybe Daytona or maybe even last year. But yeah, and it feels like those guys are probably guys that are, racing around the same spot more, I guess, frequently. So there's a lot of opportunity for something like this to happen. I hate it. It sucks. I'm glad Zane's okay. And yeah, John Hunter, I mean, listen, he was just driving, doing the best he could. So probably like I said about Connor, just got in a little bit over his head and ended up taking a couple guys out. But yeah, I hate it for those guys.
I think it does give a little bit of shine to Zane, because when something like this happens, people do make sure people know that he's having off and on a pretty good season where he's outperforming on certain tracks. We had him on the show a couple of weeks ago, and it seems like this kid does have a bright future in NASCAR. Was there anything that you saw with John Hunter, Zane, and or Josh Berry that's jumped out at you, Moon, or just one of those racing incidences?
I mean, the angle from the grandstands where you see Barry go into the wall, that didn't get enough credit on TV. Yeah. I feel like for how hard of a hit that they hit in the secondary wreck, because Zane's deal obviously is scary with the flipping and the landing, and I'm sure that I wouldn't want to go through that. That looks like it hurts, but the Barry hit just looked brutal the way he slapped the wall. And I don't know if you saw his on board. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something pretty funny about his luck when he was sitting there. He called himself like an unlucky son of a bitch or something, and then climbed out of the car.
Oh, did he? Josh said?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100% true. And even Zane, when he got out of the car, he was visibly woozy, because with all four flat and you land just on that whole flat underbody, there's no give to that. It's just a wham. And that's not a technical term, but it's just a fucking collision again with the ground. He had to be a fucking shook up, but he's a young kid. I'm sure he can shake it off. I enjoyed this week's race very much. I was able to do my second stage nap. Like, it did start to get a little bit monotonous, but being in there and plugged in for the last 60 or 70 laps, I really enjoyed everything about it. I enjoyed watching, Joe Gibbs Racing, pushing Joe, seeing them stacked at the end, teammates and whatnot in front of each other, seeing how everybody interacts. It was just a fascinating race. So much fucking fun to watch. And then obviously the ending was spectacular. Denny Hamlin, when he first got out of his car, he almost seemed a little bit choked up on pissing away a win, not getting his 60th, saying that he wanted to win it for his father. He'd said when he got out of the car originally, like, it seemed like he was about to kind of tear up. And then Bubba was also pretty fucking upset, saying that it was a stupid move, and obviously giving Denny a finger outside of the window netting. What do we want to talk about here with this? I listened to Actions Detrimental, and I got the whole, on Sunday I'm the driver, the rest of the week I'm the owner. It's not my responsibility to get 23-11 into the round of 8. all that kind of things. What the fans should love is that everyone's going for the win. I had a second to think about it, and I thought what I did was right at the time. Those are like the actions detrimental type side, but you still have people on the 23 team like Freddie Kraft saying, you think he'd want Bubba to win since his name's on the building, kind of bringing back the whole Ty Gibbs thing. How do we fall on Denny versus Bubba at the end of that race without even talking about Chase Elliott coming in a Chevy, taking it from him? How do we feel about that?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm obviously a big Denny Hamlin fan. He's been great to us. He's an easy guy to root for. Every year I find myself captivated by the fact that he doesn't have the championship, and I think to myself, as does everyone, could this be Denny's year? Could this be Denny's year? And honestly, this year I felt more strongly about that than years recent. And I'd be lying if I said that I would not think differently of that take I gave on this show a couple weeks ago. After the last couple weeks we've seen from Denny Hamlin, we saw him and Ty Gibbs last week, kind of having a spat and the drama that came out of that. And then this week now implicated with his own team. And, Bubba, I also think I got to step back and just from a bigger picture thing. If you look at Bubba from the time that, let's just use the timeline of like since he's had a kid, he has been so much better. And I think Bubba has really turned a quarter, not only from a driver skill and finishing position standpoint, but also from like an emotional intelligence and maturity level. We've seen Bubba in the past, fighting with Kyle Larson, pushing him on the track. This year, I think he reacted to this situation as good as he possibly could have. If the extent of it was what we saw was him visibly upset and a middle finger to Denny Hamlin, I think you have to tip your cap to Bubba and just say, like, in the grand scheme of things, I think he was pretty reasonable with his reaction to what
extremely
transpired.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Bubba, again, he's been really good. I think he's been running better than Tyler Reddick. And again, Tyler Reddick's got a lot of stuff going on, so I'm not taking a shot at him or discrediting Tyler Reddick. My point is that Bubba has been really, really fucking good, and I don't think we have given him his proper love, or really the grand scheme of the sport, I don't think has really acknowledged that for Bubba, at least from where I sit. So I do think following this, it's easy for me to say I'm Team Bubba. I think he did a good job in the way that he handled that. I obviously, it sucks for me to say, but Denny, man, 2 weeks in a row now, you've been kind of a detriment in certain regards to whether it be the team you own or your teammates that you race with. So, yeah, like I said, I'm a little bit kind of starting to think less and less of Denny's chances to win the championship. And obviously, at this point with this format, it's going to be required to do some stuff like what we've seen from Denny if you're going to indeed win the championship and lift the trophy, but it just hasn't gone his way recently. And when you're doing a move like that on a teammate or a team that you own, you got to be so careful and make sure that a guy like Chase Elliott or someone who's not really in direct contention can come out and pull the rabbit out of their hat. So overall, I think Denny fumbled, and I think Bubba handled it well.
Yeah,
both the 2311 cars now larger beneath the cut line. So at some point, Denny has to look himself in the mirror and kind of take fault for that, in my opinion.
I think he did explain it away, not necessarily with SMT data, but talking about, power steering and all this stuff and making this type of move and whatnot. But, explain it away all you want. But at the end of the day, he did fuck the pooch, right? Because Joe Gibbs is not in victory lane. Neither is 2311, and neither is any fucking Toyota.
Yeah.
So it is really the worst case scenario. And on top of it all, one of the guys who people love to throw fucking stones at, Denny Hamlin, just gave up a race to one of the guys that people love to blow, Chase Elliott. So it was very fucking poetic and weird. I wonder if you say that, maybe this is the turning point where Denny Hamlin gave up his latest chance to win a championship. I don't know if that's true, but I think karma is sort of not on his side right now, if you think that karma is such a thing. Moon, how'd you think about the Bubba thing? Would you have handled it differently, or did you want some more from him?
I think he did the right thing because it's his boss. You know what I mean? He flipped him off. He said what he said on the radio. He didn't lay over in the interview. I thought Bubba handled it perfect. I think Spider's right. I think we're seeing kind of Bubba Wallace 2.0 where He's not flying off the handle. He's handling it right. But he's also not being a pushover. He didn't get out and say, there's nothing you could do there. He said that he's a dumbass for that move.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like he handled it, as good as anybody could. I think Denny screwed up. I think Denny knows he screwed up. But at the end of the day, if Denny just lays over, I think everybody's 10 times more angry, because then he's just letting Bubba through. And at the same time, Denny made a great point. Joe Gibbs pays him a lot of money to chase a championship. He can't just lay over for those cars. It's not like Bubba and Reddick aren't threats or aren't ever going to win races or be a threat for the championship. Denny beating Bubba right there makes Denny's path to a championship a lot easier if they don't both go up the track and give it to Chase. So I get the aspect of there were 5 or whatever Toyotas up there and a Chevy one. You took your own car, put it in the wall. You cost yourself the win. But at the same time, I can't sit here, and I would be throwing a fit if Denny just let Bubba win, or if anybody just let anybody win for that matter. So I can't sit here and really throw a huge fit that he put him in the wall going for it, because that's what I feel like, and everybody is fans. We want to see somebody willing to put their own car in the wall to win a race and advance into the format. So I'm torn on it. I think Bubba did everything he needed to do. I was rooting for Bubba. I wanted Bubba to win. I thought it would have been a great story, but it wasn't meant to be. And I think everybody, laid it all on the line, and Chase Elliott got pretty lucky there. But what he did was pretty cool. I mean, the way he committed on the bottom and did not give a shit and just bodied him out of the way, that was really, really cool too. So I think that's kind of lost in all of it. And then something that's really going unnoticed, I feel like, other than a few Twitter threads, Ty Gibbs was really, really slow for some reason, and he was almost a factor at all this, which would have been hilarious.
I didn't put that on the rundown, Moon, just because I thought that this was such a good way to transition out of talking about Denny and Ty. Like, Denny essentially 3 weeks ago, when he had won, he said, "You'll get on the train or you'll get run over." And he essentially has run over a teammate and a fucking employee since then. So I think that's the lead story. But what was Gibbs doing? Was he kind of like hanging back just to, I have no fucking clue.
Something must have happened that didn't get caught on TV or something, because I looked like he had a problem, but I know when they crossed the start finish line, he was crawling down there. So I don't know, but that could have been really interesting too, given all the recent drama between him and Denny.
You and Spider are kind of saying the same thing, and I'm saying that we have, more so than any of the other podcasts out there, we have so much time to pick this thing apart like this Zapruder film. But if Denny, in that split-second decision, was able to process where Chase was, and on top of everything else, process where Joey was in relation to the cut line, knocking a Penske driver out in the round of 8, or, stopping a Penske driver like Joey Logano from going into the round of 8, if Bubba would have won, that pushed Joey below. And Penske guys are awful at fucking the Roval. So it would have just about sealed Joey Logano's fate. I think that's something that he's kicking himself too. Like, he let his Chevy win. JGR didn't win. 2311 didn't win. And Joey Logano may have a fresh set of downs. And this could be a huge fucking storyline going into Phoenix. Joey makes it to Phoenix and beats Denny out for a championship. Everyone's going to go back to what had happened at the end of the race here in Kansas. Like, it could really be one of those things that kicks Denny in the ass. Unfortunately, a little bit further downstream. Can you think of a more interesting situation than Joey Logano beating Denny head to head at fucking Phoenix now? I mean, that would fucking blow up. That would blow up the world, wouldn't it?
Well, given how the Phoenix, I feel like there'd be a lot of underlying frustrations there with how Phoenix races too, between those two. I feel like that would be a public opinion shitstorm.
Yeah,
right
because
there.
people would be like, Joey doesn't deserve it, and Denny got fucked, but he fucked himself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the dildo of justice very rarely comes lubed. Like, all that kind of stuff will pop back up. But I don't know. It's just, there's so many downstream implications for what had happened in the last lap. Somebody put up a great fucking graphic on where every one of those drivers were 3 laps to go versus when checkered. And everybody, and you saw just Chase Elliott go from 8th down to 10th when he picked his lane all the way up, and all these other things. It was such an interesting end of that race, particularly with these playoff implications, that it begs the question. I know that we're going to get a change in the system coming up, but do you think it would have been that exciting if there were no playoff, implications involved? And by the way, we haven't been a huge pro playoff, pro full season, pro bigger play, like we're on the fence. Whatever I think will be cool, I can't wait to see what NASCAR does with it. But the way the playoff system is now, don't you think that's what made the end of the race really that exciting, or am I reaching here?
No, I mean, I think you're spot on. I think the playoffs is kind of what requires some of these moves. The thing is, we've seen this happen a couple times, whether it be like Austin Dillon at Richmond or something like this. Like, you get instances with this format in which the drivers' hands are tied, for a lack of better words. Like, they have to do something like this in order to ultimately remain in contention for the championship. Right. So I don't know. To me, it depends who you ask. I'm personally, and I hate to ride the fence, I could go either way. If it's you want super clean racing and there's not moves like this Denny move or the Austin Dillon move at Richmond, then I think full season kind of old school playoff format is the move. If you're going to do a championship format the way we have it, I think this is kind of par for the course. And I think that where you stand on that kind of dictates your opinion on the playoffs and what format you'd prefer moving forward.
I know that the playoff system can fuck other things up. Again, I'm not carrying a torch for the playoff system. And I know that this next gen car is by far not perfect, but I will tell you that next gen car, the way it raced this weekend on that 1.5 miles, and the situation surrounding the playoffs and having all those guys who are now in must wins and were almost in must wins last week, so definitely in must wins this week, that was what NASCAR kind of created this system for. The car performed well, the track did what it needed to do, and I think the playoffs had created a tremendous amount of excitement. I don't care what the fuck they do going forward. I'm going to watch it regardless, but I thought that it was a pretty wonderful race, all things considered, this time around. And I'm telling you, what's fucking with me too is talking about the 1.5 mile intermediate. It has everybody jonesing for the Chicagoland race next year. Like, just to put another intermediate in there, because we haven't seen one since, Charlotte back in May. We've gone a real drought without seeing a 1.5 miler. And it breaks my heart that we're going to Charlotte this week, which has a perfectly good 1.5 mile track, but we're going to be making lefts and rights, right? You know what I mean? Like, when you see that product put out.
You're just mad because SVG is the favorite.
And I think fucking NASCAR did it to give SVG and fuck it. No, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think we're it's that tar heroin. Oh shit, that 1.5 mile stuff is in my veins. Yeah. Where are we going next? We're going another 1.5 miles, or not so fast. We're going to go through the infield and onto a fucking golf course at one part. It doesn't fucking do me any good. So, but that's kind of personal. Let's talk about Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott, comes from the 8th position, and I think on the restart, technically he was 10th, and to get his first playoff win of the season. And the 9 is really good at the Roval. So, he went back-to-back in 2019 and 2020, and now he's racing like pressure-free. Alan Gustafson had made the call to put on 4 tires. I think it's the call he always makes, and sometimes it shoots him in the foot, and Chase fans fucking hate him at times, but it worked this time. So Alan Gustafson has some wind underneath his sails. How fucking dangerous is Chase Elliott? Because we went 3 fucking races, and nobody's beating JGR. They're going to run this fucking playoff into the ground. And then we go 1 race, Penske guys, they're killing it here. They're also going to kill it in Phoenix. That's a wake-up call. Chase Elliott comes through traffic while everyone else is doing bullshit and wins the race. Does that change the tide for you? Is Chevy back on your radar? Is Chase Elliott now a real threat to win the championship? How do you feel about that compared to how we feel about Penske just owning Phoenix and JGR, Toyota's just kind of owning a lot of tracks within this playoff schedule?
Hey, listen, if I'm a Chase Elliott fan, I'm pumped right now. Obviously, great win. But if you look at his season, his body of work, and I know obviously the last kind of dating back to the leg injury. It's been a different Chase Elliott than what we've seen. We blame it on the injury, blame it on the
Right.
next gen car, whatever you want. It's been a kind of a slow acquired taste for Chase in this new car. But that being said, you look at his stats this year, he has finished super good in nearly every single race. His worst race was Bristol, where he finished 38. But aside from that, he has 38th at Richmond and 26th at Watkins Glen. Every other race aside from that, I think, has been in the top 20 finishing position. Now you have a playoff win. He's finally back in victory lane. He's proven he won earlier this year at Atlanta, but he's now proven that he can get multiple wins. I like it. I often talk about on this show how much momentum is a real thing, and Chase Elliott's getting hot at the right time. The floor for Chase Elliott this season has been like a 15th, 18th place finish. If that's the worst he's going to do, and then you're telling me now he's back winning races and still with that consistent Chase Elliott that we've come to know the last couple of years, I think he's in a great spot. I'd put him in just as good a position as his Hendrick teammates to win the championship. I don't know if that's a hot
Did
take.
he go from 3 to 1 for you? That's my point. No one ever had Bowman above 4. I don't think at any point during the season, but I think we all had Chase Elliott. That's probably the better question. I appreciate you doing that for me, Spider.
I mean,
that's a better question. So is Chase Elliott now climbed up above possibly Kyle Larson and William Byron?
I do think he has. And I mean, obviously maybe that's a cheap answer given that, if you look on paper, literally he is above them. But like I said, momentum's a real thing. Chase Elliott, I think even kind of winning, and again, I'm not a driver, believe it or not. It's hard for me to know the perspective of a driver, but if I'm Chase Elliott and I pull a rabbit out of my hat in a race that I wasn't really expecting to win, I was kind of racing for finishing position, I end up winning. At that point, you're kind of playing with like house money in a sense. It's like when you're at the casino and things go your way, it's like maybe you can take a little bit more chances, or that extra confidence I think will ultimately help Chase Elliott. He's a guy who's won championships in the past. He knows what it takes. Now he's got a little spark. I like where Chase Elliott is at this season.
What do you think of the mustache? Honestly,
listen, he's done some crazy facial hair in the past, so I don't really have an issue with it. Some of the looks I think have been not it for Chase Elliott. So I don't know. As long as they're not super egregious, I can live with it. And if you're winning races, you can do whatever the hell you want, as far as I'm concerned.
I wish I checked the futures because I never took a future on Chase Elliott. I've been fucking around with Briscoe. I actually took a future on SVG too, which didn't cash. But I haven't paid attention. I wonder what the futures have done in Chase Elliott. What's your take on Chase Elliott after the win? And again, for people who didn't, everyone watched the end of the race, hopefully. If you just watch what Chase Elliott did on that final restart, it was a masterful piece of driving. It was aggressive driving it was heads up driving. It was skilled. Everything. The way he was weaving through was just very, very impressive. I don't think anyone can take that away from him for that. But how do we feel about the long-term prospects for Chase Elliott? Again, going into the Roval, where if SVG shits the bed, Chase Elliott's got to be one of the guys up there who's at least near a favorite.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's getting hot when it matters, and I think there's a lot of good tracks coming up for him too. I mean, like you said, the Roval this weekend, which I guess really doesn't matter a whole lot to him.
Yeah.
But you got Dega, you still got Martinsville, you got Homestead, you got places that he can run very well at, and then obviously we've seen him win a championship before. So I'm with you, Large. I kind of wish I'd have put a future on him because he didn't look good. Chase Elliott's like the most deceiving Cup driver I think there is, because everybody expects him to win every week because he's one of the more talked about drivers, but he has kind of quietly had a great year. Like I haven't checked the overall driver standings in a while, but like for the longest time when everybody was saying, oh, he's not winning, he's not doing this, he's not doing that, he was having a great year, statistically speaking. He just doesn't win a whole lot. So it really, I guess, shouldn't be a surprise, but it kind of is. And I think it's pretty cool what he's doing. And to do it in the fashion he did, to kind of come out of nowhere at Kansas, and now everybody's like, oh shit, like this could be Chase's year. Nobody's talked about that till now.
Well, it's the perfect storm. Like you said, Moonhead, getting right getting hot at the right time. Like to me, this is the perfect conditions for Chase Elliott. I look at guys like Christopher Bell, who rattled off 3 races right early on in the season. And, for me, there was concern. It's like, oh, did he Is he going to be able to maintain the success? Is he going to start slumping? Is he going to cool off, etc.? Whereas I'd prefer a season like Chase Elliott, where you've just been kind of consistently finishing solid every single race, slow and low. Maybe not winning a whole lot of races. You get one or two wins here and there, whether it be Atlanta or Kansas, like we've seen. But now, like Moonhead said, he's getting hot at the right time, right into the playoffs down the stretch. He has all this momentum behind him, and he's proven that he's been good at these tracks in the past. And earlier this season, he's been running well. So, yeah, I like where Moonhead's at. I do want to make a quick correction.
Go.
Kyle Larson is currently plus 500 to win the championship. Chase Elliott is plus 600 alongside William Byron, who's also plus 600. So the sports books, DraftKings seems to think that Chase Elliott would be the second most likely Hendrick driver to lift the trophy this year, if not third, depending on how you infer that information. But yeah, I mean, I like where Chase Elliott's at, and I tend to agree with you guys. I wish one of us had a ticket on him.
I know. I think that it's bad for Vegas if Chase Elliott wins, because, you know, they talk about Chase sexuals all the time, even more casual fans than maybe I am, who probably put a future on Chase Elliott every year, just because he has such a huge fucking fan base. So, you know, they're going to take a bath on some preseason plus 2000s to win it all on Chase Elliott if he does, you know, go make this run, you know?
I still think there's value in the plus 600, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
we're speaking very highly of Chase right now. If you are sipping the tea that we're selling,
yeah,
sprinkle a little on DraftKings. Plus 600, I still think is a fair price, given you have guys like Blaney who are plus 350 and Larson who are 5-1 to lift the trophy.
You know, we're talking about stuff that Denny wasn't able to process in that split second decision to put his fucking employee into the fence. But I'm also looking at this schedule going forward. Moonhead, I just put it up too. Man, the next round would have been very good for Bubba. I mean, Bubba getting out and getting to the round of 8 and then having Las Vegas, Talladega, he can win in Martinsville. You know, there was a shot that guy would have been a Final Four driver. I don't see him getting out of the round of 12 to the round of 8. So I'm making a couple of assumptions here. He could have a very good, the Roval is a tough place to score points. It's just a tough place to score points. So I don't feel good about Bubba going into it. But man, if he would have just got through into the round of 8, he could have made a real fucking, he could have made a real run. But yeah, I hope that Chase Elliott is one of those guys that gets back to the top of the mountain, because people love him. And that's got to be good for NASCAR too, because, you know, more eyes means, you know,
I mean, last thing I'll say about Chase Elliott, Large, how much did we talk about the potential? And, you know, we see people when they're critiquing or even acknowledging this playoff format with a hypothetical that someone could theoretically win the championship without winning a race leading up to that. My point is, you have a guy like Chase Elliott who's been consistent and maybe not winning at the same clip as a lot of these other playoff drivers, but you have him consistently finishing. Now he's got a win to show for it. Could he theoretically just stay alive just based off consistent points finishing position like we've seen kind of this year? And I think, you know, Chase is in a great spot to do that.
Yeah, and he is, because Denny Hamlin fucked up. I have a situation where Moonhead said, you know, if Denny would have laid off Bubba or somehow pushed him to the win or did anything, it would have pissed off him and caused a real hullabaloo in and around the world of NASCAR. What happens if this weekend where we're racing at the Roval and SVG is racing Chastain and SVG lets Chastain win? Honestly,
yeah.
Would people be pissed off? I don't think they would. You think they'd be pissed off?
Oh, yeah. I think with all the format talk right now, I think people are just looking for a reason, and that would send people over the edge.
Right. So that would be me sticking up for SVG, like knowing his place, being like, listen, I'm not familiar with this format. I'm a company man first. Another win on a road course, even though, by the way, this is a huge SVG blowing thing, because I got a bunch of fucking stats on what happens if SGV, whatever the fuck his name is, if he wins this week. He's about to make history if he goes in there and wins. Shane Van Gisbergen is chasing more history. He can become the second driver to win 5 consecutive Cup road course races, joining Jeff Gordon, who won 6 straight between 97 and 2000. That's how much fewer fucking road courses were on the schedule back then. And Shane can become the first driver to get their first 6 Cup wins on road courses. So SVG is tracing history once again this weekend, but he seems like a team player, and Justin Marks would be thrilled to get one of his drivers into the round of 8. You can't see a universe where something like that happens, even if it was to cause like a big ruckus in the NASCAR community.
I mean, listen, that'd be
awesome. I think. I don't know. I love the chaos.
I don't know if we
fucking
could
love it.
survive another fucking like civil war within the sport like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like even though these wins pile up and it's very, very good for this guy to establish himself as the greatest road courser who's ever lived, if he was to do this, I don't know. Maybe I'm just hoping for it. Maybe I'm just praying for the fucking chaos. Well, people who love this race. So the Jeff Gluck poll had come out, and 91% of people love this race. What makes people vote no on this?
I think I'll tell you what. I think if Denny won the race or moved Bubba and ultimately won if he stole the race, I think people would have been voting no.
You think?
Yeah,
no, but I mean, like for the 9% that voted no, and I'm being honest here, and I'm going to assume that the 9% isn't bots, and if they are bots, then this is a moot point. But I saw a lot of comments underneath it. I don't care about the poll as much as I care about the comments for people underneath it. Moonhead, would you have said that this was a good race? How did you vote?
I voted yes. But I will say I do think that those polls are usually influenced by who wins or who loses, or emotion. I feel like drives a lot of people's votes as opposed to what they thought of the race. But I would have voted before that finish. I'd have voted yes. I think that the next gen at Kansas, what you said earlier, Large, that's if the next gen could race everywhere like it races at Kansas, I don't think anybody'd be complaining about the car, because it's must-watch TV every time they go there. And obviously there's a few mile and a halfs that I feel like are similar, but Kansas, for whatever reason, just delivers.
It always delivers, yeah.
Vegas is good too. I completely blanked on the schedule earlier. I just learned that Vegas was not or Homestead was not coming up in the next round. I thought that Homestead was coming up, but it's actually Vegas. But either way, Kansas would have gotten a yes out of me.
I got to be honest. I didn't find it to be that exciting of a race until the end. And that seemed to have been with people. And again, I'm reading comments. I would have voted yes, but, single file racing, occasional attempts to pass, which was usually met with an aero block. And somebody was saying the ending was great, but that doesn't redeem the whole race for me, in my opinion. I would think that if Kansas was a stinker for the first 2.5 stages and then gave us that ending, you have to vote yes. I don't know of another sport where you could see a race or a game like a 0-0 tie in baseball. That's a fucking stinker, but someone hits a walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th, makes that game a good game, even though the 8.5 innings before that were fucking stinkers. I'm not saying that Kansas was a stinker for, every lap except for the last 50, but if it was the worst race in the world, it's no longer a bad race because you got that fucking finish. I don't I've watched football games that sucked, but there was something that went on at the end, 60-yarder with time fucking running out, and that redeems it. NASCAR doesn't seem to get that respect. It seems like people are expecting the race to be wall to wall, just balls out fucking great. But for people who are new to the sport like I am, watching a race where, perhaps it gets a little bit monotonous, same guy up in front for 170 laps, that type of thing. But when you get the payoff like that at the end, that's a guaranteed 100% good race to me. And for people who feel differently, I can say with confidence, you're absolutely fucking wrong. I really do think that they're fucking wrong. So kudos to everyone who put that shit together. And again, love to see it again this week at Charlotte, but whatever. What else? What else from this race? Any other takeaways from Kansas other than the fact that we have to go there next year, Spider?
I mean, my takeaway would just be like what you guys said, particularly the 1.5 miles, like you said, Large, and then Moonhead is just Kansas always delivers. Every time I've gone to Kansas or even watched a race there, I get excited for it. Dating back to the first race we were at there, Large, when we saw Bubba win. So watching this weekend, seeing Bubba almost kind of stand on business and do it again. There's something to be said about when a guy, and I'm not trying to say discredit Bubba's win at Kansas by any means. But like when Austin Dillon won at Richmond this year, I'm like, all right, like, you know what I mean? Like maybe tip my cap. He's capable of doing it. And it kind of adds another level of credibility. So yeah, I was rooting for Bubba down the stretch there, like Moonhead was, but like you guys both made good points that I think Kansas is just awesome and the style of racing delivers. And I think that's proof by the poll that you mentioned. And to answer your question, Large, the 9%, I would have to guess that those people were either a 2311 fan, Bubba fan, something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a reason why like it might have been higher than what you thought is because, like Moonhead said, Chase Elliott won the race, and people care who wins the race. That impacts these polls probably unproportionately. So, yeah, I think that's kind of why.
But I'm trying to pump that the positivity, just because we need to do something. We'll get to the TV ratings from this week in a sec. So let's look at a couple of headlines. Before we do that, let's talk about Dive Bomb. Dive Bomb Industries saved Spider's life. We were ice cold water. Spider had made a quick, slipped, and a little bit of cold water went down into his things, insulated, all this kind of stuff when we went duck hunting. I'm telling you right now, these guys are the real deal. Dive Bomb Industries is designed to perform in the toughest conditions. They make products for the outdoorsman, the hunter, and the sportsman. They even have golf polos and everyday wear, which we wear these golf polos now originally. Every time it rains, I got the greatest rain jacket I've ever had in my life, and I've been around for way too fucking long, from Dive Bomb. Everything that they do is made extremely well, extremely functional, and keeps you either warm or dry. And, sometimes it keeps you sexy, particularly in my case, right? Because I look good in those fucking polos. So I'm telling you, if you're a hunter, check out Dive Bomb Industries. If you just want a cool golf shirt, check out Dive Bomb Industries. If you just want some sort of rain jacket so you're not soaked the next time you go to parent-teacher night, which is when it saved my life last time, go to Dive Bomb Industries. So check us out at divebombindustries.com and use code Rubbin15, Rubbin15 at checkout for a discount. Again, give these guys a shot, or at least give them a little bit of a peek, because the stuff they make is absolutely
high quality.
Yeah, and they're a bunch of good guys too.
They're awesome.
Yeah,
you know what my favorite thing, Large, is? I have a headlamp from them.
Do you really?
So yeah, like if it gets dark in Chicago and I'm going out, like if I don't have a dog, but I feel like
that's when I would use it.
Perfect thing for dog walking.
Yeah.
When we were at Camp Barstool a couple weeks ago, my Dive Bomb headlamp was massive. And they really have something for everyone. If you want just like slip on kind of like rubber shoes, go out, get the mail, perfect. They have that. They have waterproof boots for hiking. They have some really, really great stuff. Even if you just want to, like you said, with the golf shirts, they also have just casual apparel as well as golf stuff. So
it's weird you say that, because they got me those size 15s that we did for the golf thing that you cheated on. And I have them by my back door whenever I'm walking the dogs in the rain. And I'm not an outdoorsy guy. Like, that's the whole deal.
Well, I
feel like a fraud sometimes wearing this stuff, because people be like, how many mallard drakes did you take down? I'd be like, oh shit, I did get one. But like, I don't know a lot about it. It's like I'm appropriating somebody else's culture. Yeah. But either way,
they have something for everyone.
Yeah. USA Network had only 1.49 million viewers for Sunday's NASCAR race at Kansas. The numbers are down for 1.8 last year, but still good enough to be the second most popular sporting event on cable, behind the NFL game in Ireland, which was on the NFL Network. So outside the stuff that was on network TV, it was the second most watched thing in cable. I guess they can hang their hat on that, but it's, again, something that needs to be fixed, and it's not going to be fixed by just announcing a full season, format or chase or anything like that. But there's something needs to shift. People have been extremely negative about the idea of shortening the season, something that I've been a proponent of, just because if you don't want to go up against the behemoth, and don't give me that shit that NASCAR has been going against the NFL for such a long time. NASCAR has also modified its schedule around the NFL for a long time. The Clash is going to be in that off week. Then we do nothing for the Super Bowl, and then we have our biggest fucking event with the Daytona 500 basically drifting off of the Super Bowl. Hey, the Super Bowl's over. This is the shit. Let's watch this right now. So we do take into consideration other stick and ball sports that are around. So I'm still a proponent of them shortening the season, but we'll see what they'll do. Since we last recorded, NASCAR is now seriously weighing the possibility of drastically overhauling the playoffs or doing away with them altogether. And the mere chance of going back to a 36 race schedule determining the series champion marks a dizzying turnaround. These are comments from NASCAR this week saying that something's going to happen next year. They're not going to go to a full 36-week format, but something's going to happen. I think everyone's happy to hear that, but I'm going to ask you guys specifically. NASCAR said this week that they're going to tweak it next year. Why the fuck would they do that in the middle of the playoffs? Why the fuck would they denigrate the playoffs that they have now by saying, listen, this bullshit that we're going to make you watch for the rest of the season, it's not going to be that much bullshit next year. Don't you think the timing of this is shooting themselves in the foot a little bit and adding to the fact that if Joey or somebody wins, oh, well, that's the one before they changed it. They knew mid-season or mid-playoffs that something had to be changed. Don't you not like the timing of this?
You know what? I'm going to take the opposite
Go.
opinion. I'm going to be a full industry shill here for a minute.
Okay.
I think it's great. I think it's important that NASCAR is willing to make changes. There's been a lot of rumors recently, whether it be testing higher horsepower, changing the playoff format, whatever you may be. And then we see all this talk. I've been seeing reports that NASCAR is trying to get back to its roots, like kind of the good old style of racing that the traditional fans grew up liking and fell in love with. So it sounds like they're going to try to cater more towards their original fan base as opposed to try to cater to new fans and demographics, which I think obviously is, of course, valuable. But I think it's good that NASCAR is willing to hear feedback and make changes. And I think that is all you can ask. And to me, the fact that they're willing to hear from their audience and take constructive criticism, feedback, whatever. And again, we've said numerous times in this show, NASCAR fans are some of the most
cunty.
Yeah, whatever term you want to call it. They'll be the first to tell you their opinion, and they have a lot of opinion. So the fact that NASCAR is willing to entertain those opinions and cater to those desires, I think is a massive, massive win. Everything we've kind of asked for, and I shouldn't say we, but like the fans, from the fans' perspective, it seems like they're at least willing to have a conversation on, whether it be higher horsepower, a different playoff format, some of these things. And I think it's good. I think, with this whole lawsuit going on, it could be declining ratings. It could be this lawsuit that's gotten NASCAR willing to kind of change and look at things differently. But overall, I think it's a massive win. And if you're a fan, you should be encouraged by this.
Does it ruin the validity of this season? Because this season, the 2025 season of NASCAR is ongoing, and we still have the opportunity now. Denny ships a teammate, Denny ships an employee, all this other stuff. Chase, we have the opportunity now to have a Phoenix race. Maybe Joey doesn't make it to the Final Four. Blaney kind of conks out, even though Penske is so good at fucking Phoenix. And we have Denny and Chase Elliott door to door again, racing for the win for a championship for either the most popular driver in the world or the Dan Marino of NASCAR, a guy who's never gotten a fucking ring. That could be one of the most exciting final races ever. And now it's sort of like, just know that this bullshit that we're doing this year will not be what happens next year. This seems to me like this is a mid-November announcement, right? Because we've made our bed for the 2025 season. And there is no definitive answer. And I get that NASCAR is placating a lot of people by saying, hey, listen, we're listening. We are listening to you guys, and we are going to make changes. But I think it's going to fuck with the results this year.
Yeah, listen, at this point, there's been so much fucking discussion about whether the current playoff format is legitimate, if it's the fairest, if it's the best way to crown a champion. I'm not even down for those conversations anymore. I don't know a better way. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know all the right answers. What I am going to do is, listen, they set the rules and we go by them. I forget what driver was saying that. One of the drivers was saying, I believe it might have been Joey that was like,
Joey.
Listen, they set the playoff format. I'm going to go out and try to execute to the best of my abilities for that particular format. And that's where we're at right now. This is the current playoff format. I'm going to enjoy it until they decide to do something else. Then I'm going to enjoy that. Could it be better? I'm sure. But again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I have all the answers. Like I said, my biggest take from this is that NASCAR's willing to change and listen. And that is a massive, massive win, in my opinion.
I hear you. Moon, how do you like the timing of this shit?
I like it just because I think I think they're hitting the panic button with the ratings. I think that they've got to drive the point home that there's change on the way. And I think that.
So they do this maybe for the people who are buying it? Like, is this announcement more to placate NBC? Because the ratings were pretty good until the end of the season. Like, NBC's like, fuck no. We want the beginning. We want the Daytona 500, or we want the chunky stuff in the middle for Amazon. Or does NASCAR be like, we're going to move Amazon to the end of the season because you guys seem to tune into that? You know, perhaps, and I know the streaming stuff, there's stuff to get real numbers. You think they did it to kind of placate some of these networks?
I don't really, I mean, I think overall they've just got to start like the campaign that if there's going to be change, they can't just announce it the day before the next season. I think they really want to get people fired up for next year. And I don't think it's going to discredit this. I mean, if it discredits this year's champion, in my opinion, that just proves that the format was broken to begin with, because I think right now, like as much as I'm not a fan of the format, I'm not going to be one of those people who sits here and says, oh, it doesn't count, or try to discredit a cup championship. Because at the end of the day, when all the teams showed up in Daytona, they knew the format and they've played to win that format. It just so happens with this, a lot of things outside of their control can probably impact it, maybe, as opposed to other formats. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's going to discredit anybody. I think it's more so just there's the playoff fatigue, or at least this format fatigue. Right. And I think NASCAR's trying to overshadow that with maybe next year's hope.
Right. All right. No, I hear you guys. I'm just wondering if they should have just fucking waited. I'm going to blow through some of this other stuff. Richard Childress is not retiring. So the Reddit guys are wrong on that one, and maybe they're right, but Richard wants to do it himself. He's 80 years old. Race America's Racing Forum gave us a first look at the direction of NASCAR's 2026 marketing campaign. One of the things that they had put up on the overhead was the slogan, "Hell yeah," as a core tagline. That was outlined in the presentation. NASCAR has since said, listen, no official tagline has been finalized, but we've seen hell yeah. How do you guys feel about hell yeah? How do you feel NASCAR? Hell yeah. NASCAR 2026. Hell yeah. Like, how do you feel about that?
I feel like kind of guilty. I feel like that's one of those crutch words. That's kind of like a let's go word that's kind of in my arsenal that I just feel like I always kind of say. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm more interested to see what comes out of this, because I kind of feel like I understand what NASCAR's trying to get at with the whole hell yeah tagline. As much as I don't necessarily like love the tagline, I think it points to what they're trying to get at, which is like what I was kind of just talking about, like kind of getting back to their roots kind of sort of thing, which I think is a welcome addition. I think it will be great, kind of getting back and catering to the original core fan base, which will be awesome. So I'm excited to see what comes of it, as much as hell yeah might be kind of a
cheesy.
Yeah, kind of cheesy.
Would you wear a hell? I'm going to ask both of you guys. Would you wear a hell yeah t-shirt? Fuck no.
Probably not. I mean, listen, I'll wear any graphic tee if it's designed cool enough. But I think the premise of hell yeah needs a lot of work.
You mean if it's done in a spray paint shop somewhere in Daytona Beach? Like that whole thing? That thing was fucking fire.
If it's an artisan hand-blown t-shirt, I'm there.
Right. How do you feel about hell yeah?
Man, I appreciate the sentiment. I really do. Like, I appreciate what they're going for. That said, I think that tagline was corny. I know the Tim Clark dude said that there's no like campaigns being planned or whatever, but we've seen this on a giant projector screen. So I don't know. I mean, it's better planned out than anything I've ever done in my life. So I don't know. Like I said, I get the sentiment, but I feel like that's just kind of a disconnect. You've got somebody who probably isn't used to like, I don't know, things that a NASCAR fan's going to say hell yeah to. Like, to me, it seems like it seems like somebody watched a Cletus McFarland video and didn't realize Cletus was joking when he said hell yeah all the time. That's really what I think it is. So I can get behind the sentiment, and I'm with Spider. If this initiative is going to take us to places that, you know, they do cool things, I don't care if the tagline's a little bit corny. But I do hope that they tweak it just a little bit, because I don't know. I mean, I don't know what kind of commercial they're gonna make where they just say hell yeah. I feel like that'll be a little corny.
Maybe fuck yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
They put like the asterisk in the U. I think those things, they may fly off the shelves. That's just a little tweak, fuck yeah, you cunts. Not even something that big, but just like fuck yeah, I think might do better than hell yeah. I'm going to write a letter. Annie just sent me a text. Spider and I have played in the Corey LaJoy Kickball Classic before. Yeah. He does it to raise good money for a good cause. And you always get put on random teams. And he just said, so we're going to be dropping this on Friday. So the Kickball Classic would have already happened down in North Carolina, I think perhaps tonight while we're taping. We're just not at the Roval, so we couldn't do it. Check out this team, Spider. Remember we were on a team with a bunch of good people, right? Annie just sent me this. This team has Nick Rodriguez, Carson Hocevar, Sam Mayer, Brent Cruz, Logan Musaraka, I don't know who that is, Matthias Farley, Michael McDowell, Daniel Dye, Cody Ware, Austin Dillon, and Catherine Legg. That's one of the teams. And you know who the fucking captain is? BJ fucking McLeod. I would love to play on that team. I would love to be patrolling the outfield with Carson and Catherine, with BJ yelling at me, run you fat fuck, like something like that. So I don't know, whatever you guys can do. After the Kickball Classic is over, they then auction off a lot of stuff, either stuff that was game worn or some of the stuff from it. So if you give a look at that, maybe you can throw something together. Somebody bid on our jerseys last year, by the way, Spider.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think my take from that roster you read, Large.
Yeah.
Like, do we think Catherine Legg would just be nasty at kickball?
Oh yeah, she's probably
like
very
her
good.
Name directly translates to like, feel like I'm PFT.
Yeah,
but like her
kickball.
name is Leg. Like, you think she's got a monster leg?
She must. Yeah.
I
don't think it's a nickname. That's a given name.
Yeah,
it'd be a huge coincidence if it was, but
Catherine the Leg.
Yeah, Catherine the leg. But anyway, it's a good cause. So give it a check out if you guys have the chance. With this whole new Hell Yeah campaign, which isn't the official campaign, they're asking for the same thing. Driver-focused content is key. Don't water down the brand. Bold and fun is the sports. Show up in unique ways. All I can think about is, what if we had a driver come in every week, the same driver? Because I believe Reddick goes on with Danielle and Larry on the radio show every week. I know certain people make Briscoe does a segment with maybe Dave Moody every week or something. I see it on radio a lot. Would you like to have that maybe? Because we're Barstool, right? We're supposed to be the guys that say cunt on the air and whatnot. Would you like to have one of those drivers maybe do an update every week? That would be a cool way to get their personality across. And then who would you have? I was thinking about it on the way in, so I kind of have my answer.
Like to come on our show? Or
yeah, just hey, welcome back to Rubbin is Racing. We're just going to get into what happened at Kansas. And just like we do every week, we're going to do the Catherine's Corner with Catherine Legg. Oh yeah, well, I thought Kansas was pretty good, Lord, and then she's gone, and then we can do whatever the hell else we want. Obviously, it wouldn't be Catherine because she's not full time. Who would you think would be good fit for us? I'm thinking about it because the top of the Cup Series, if you're looking at Larson or Byron or Bell or Elliott, they don't work necessarily. I don't know how much they would be able to bring out, at least on this platform. And Denny has his own thing. Blaney, I think, does enough too. We probably wouldn't get him. So it would have to be somebody kind of just below that elite level, but also not somebody who would come on every week and say, yeah, P36 again. I didn't really get to see much of the race because I was caught in lap traffic. Who would you like to do a segment every week on this show?
I have an answer. I would take Joey Logano. I want to steal him from SiriusXM, have him do a weekly segment on our show. Last year, I guess this year, I felt as though he kind of cheated the system with the driver incentive program. And I'm not saying,
right.
He did his homework. He deserved to have all those points.
Joey cheated the system? Get out of here.
My point is, I felt he was cheating it on us. He should, Blaney, for example, did so much with us this year.
Yeah.
Whereas Joey fuck SiriusXM. No offense to SiriusXM. We love them. Great guys. We just had Danielle on last week.
Yeah.
But
Shout out.
let's have Joey come on our show once a week, talk about I think it's important to have someone in this role that is going to be someone, like you said, Large, that isn't racing 35th in lap traffic, someone
Right.
that's upfront, competitive, fast, can speak from a veteran perspective. To me, that would be Blaney or Joey Logano. I think both those guys are great to talk to. Every time we're lucky to speak to them, they give us good stuff. So it would be one of those guys for me. Obviously, I would love to continue doing stuff with Blaney. If it can't be Blaney, Joey, just move your appearances over to Rubbin is Racing. We got an open spot for you, Joey.
What about Bubba?
Bubba, actually, he would be. I wish I had more time to give that question thought because
No, I am at like I'm this more conversational. We didn't prepare it or anything like that, but I'm going down the list. Like, you know, obviously Hocevar, make sure that he, or at least he used to, comment on the good race poll.
The poll, yeah.
And that consistency, I think, endears him to the Twitter crowd.
Yeah.
You know, like, do you think in the same respect, like somebody like Bubba just coming on and doing Bubba's Bubble, you know, what's in your thought bubble this week, Bubba? I got fucked by my owner or something like that. But he's in contention for wins a lot. So it wouldn't be coming from somebody who is secure in the back every fucking race. Bubba might be a guy too. Just spitballing. Moonhead, who do you think fits? Who do you think fits with me and Spider and you?
Man, I enjoyed Briscoe a few weeks ago. I think Briscoe's kind of one of those under the radar funny dudes who can really, but also very insightful and really good at what he does. So I think he'd be a good one to look at. I like the Bubba pick though. Bubba's a lot of fun.
Honestly, I kind of want to steal both your guys' picks. Bubba Briscoe would be awesome.
You can't steal our picks, Spider.
Then I'm going to need more time to figure out who
this
my
isn't
final
communist
answer
Russia, right? Our picks are our picks, not fucking you.
Any of the front row guys too. Those three, they seem like they typically have a lot of fun on social media and have a lot to say. So
that's true. I bet like Zane would have a lot. He'd be a great guy to speak to this week. And Noah's always good. And Todd, I feel like, is insightful. Yeah.
I think Noah would get frustrated, right? Because he's had so many up and down seasons like that. And I'm not sure from a historical perspective, sometimes, you know, with Noah, if they would allow him to be on this platform every week. It's a commitment, you know? So I was trying to go through everybody in my head, and I think they'd all do well. I'm just wondering, for 38 times, somebody who would just carve us out a 10-minute Zoom, not necessarily during the show, we could pre-tape it or something like that. I'm gonna float that idea to NASCAR. If anybody who's listening has an idea who they think should call in every week to give us an update, I think Zilla should be a good one too, because he's not. No one's wrapped him up. Let's wrap him up. I hear he's going to be quite good at the fucking sport. I don't know. It's just one of those things that I think would work out for us. Carson Hocevar is fined $50,000 for member conduct violations, according to NASCAR. The number 77 spun to a halt on the back stretch on the 260th lap and flattening multiple tires. After safety personnel had arrived at the crash scenes, officials indicated that Hocevar revved and spun his tires in an attempt to rejoin the field while those safety workers attended to his car. So this is his third $50,000 fine in 2 years. He had the inappropriate comments about Mexico City being a shithole, right? That was one of them. And then when he dumped Harrison Burton under caution at Nashville, that gave him another $50,000. Crazy fuck. And then this one, people have again been looking for drone footage. USA didn't cover it at all. I didn't see it at all, or at least they weren't able to key in on it. So Jeff Gluck this morning, this is again Wednesday morning, finally found some footage of him revving the tires, and it does look like these flat tires are spinning, which could put the safety personnel in jeopardy. Did they fuck Carson Hocevar though with this? I mean, I know this all goes to charity, the $50,000, and I know Hocevar was on a Twitch stream last night asking for donations, like almost like a GoFundMe, with his thing being $50,000. And I think he got like $173 donated to him or something. So what do you think about Carson Hocevar being in the headlines once again with his third fine in 2 years?
I mean, listen, I feel like I've long said that Carson Hocevar is kind of what's holding himself back. I think once he proves that he can mature a little bit, and I understand. I mean, if I were in that position at his age, I'm sure I would be doing some kind of foolish stuff too. But I think as soon as he matures a little bit, that's what's going to help him get to the next level. If he cleans it up a little bit on track and just says a little bit less dumb shit, I think he's going to have opportunity eventually to race for a really, really strong team, or maybe get promoted from Spire. So yeah, I think that's kind of what's holding him back. I'm not super concerned about it because, you know, he has the speed to back it. I guess that kind of justifies a little bit of the headaches that come alongside employing him. But yeah, I think it's just kind of growing pains. Like, he's a young driver. He's very competitive and has speed. So eventually he's just going to kind of figure it out. And hopefully this becomes a thing of the past. And then Hocevar will be on to greener pastures.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's not anything that, you know, NASCAR kind of has a bee in their bonnet and they neuter this kid.
Right.
But if it is a danger to safety crews, then obviously it's safety first. You see anything shady about this, Moonhead, or is it kind of just straightforward? He just kind of made a little bit of a stupid fucking mistake.
Yeah, I think that they're really funny about or maybe not funny is the right word, but they take that stuff very serious. And I think his leash is probably the shortest in the entire upfield. I feel like if Briscoe or Bell or somebody does that same thing, they probably get a talking to. But I think given Carson's track record of some of his other run-ins with NASCAR and getting fines, that they're probably a little quicker to throw some monetary or whatever penalties his way. So I don't think he got fucked necessarily, but up until I saw the video this morning, I thought he got fucked. But I will say that I do think it was fair, just because the what if side, what if something goes wrong there, and then you've got a track worker or safety worker who's there to help the drivers getting hurt because he's pissed off and trying to drive away. So I get it, but I do think $50,000. I mean, that's a pretty good chunk of change for that.
Pretty fucking steep. And by the way, he's doing his Twitch stream, and everyone's like, for a millionaire, he's got like really outdated equipment. And I don't know, you guys are the iRacing people, but apparently he's driving on an iRacing rig that you get at Walmart. Which, I don't know, kind of adds to the mystique of Carson Hocevar. If anything else, makes me like the kid even more. All right, so let's move on, guys. We're going down to Charlotte this weekend, and we got a full boat. Trucks are on Friday, the EcoSave 250, qualifying on FS2, and then the race begins at 3:30 p.m. on FS1. So that's the day this drops. So tonight at 3:30, we're going to get the trucks. Connor Zilich will be in the 7 for Spire. He's doing double duty. Parker Kligerman in the 75. And then Corey LaJoy, the man who has no interest in a full-time seat in trucks next year, will be in trucks this weekend. He's wheeling the number 177. On Saturday, Xfinity Series has a Blue Cross NC250 on the CW. Connor Mozak and Kaz Grala are stepping up for this race. And then the Cup race on Sunday is the Bank of America Roval 400. Coverage begins at 3 p.m. on USA. So FS1 for trucks today, Friday. CW for Xfinity tomorrow, Saturday. And then coverage at 3 p.m. on the USA Network for Cup Series on Sunday. The Roval is the 6th and final road course of the race season, and the only road course in the playoffs, which again they put in there so SVG would have some sort of shot at the final 8. 4 of the 5 previous Charlotte Roval winners are current playoff drivers. Blaney, the last time a Ford won there was 2018. It was Ryan Blaney. Chase Elliott, as I mentioned earlier, won twice there in 19 and 20. Kyle Larson won twice there in 21 and 24, and Christopher Bell in 2022. And the winner of the Charlotte Roval went on to win the championship twice, once with Chase and once with Kyle Larson. It doesn't really fucking matter because SVG is racing, but luckily for Ryan Blaney, he's on a 23 race streak without a top 5 finish on road courses, but he doesn't give a fuck because him and Elliott are already locked into the round of 8. So let's see what happens. Catch the action on TV or feel the thrill in person. Secure your NASCAR seat today at NASCAR.com and feel the excitement. Let's make some picks. So we'll go to right to picking the tires. As always, as Spider had mentioned before, it's brought to you by DraftKings, the only place where we bet. But NFL fans, what's your favorite touchdown? There's over 100 years of TDs to pick from. For me, it's the next one. Because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. DraftKings Sportsbook delivers unmatched intensity of the NFL right to your fingertips. From first touchdown scorer to anytime TD props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. And here's the best part. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Rubbin, that's code Rubbin, to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Before you guys make your picks, Goodyear says the Cup Series tire for this weekend at the Roval is the same one used on the other 5 road courses this season, so there should be no surprises or storylines as far as the tires go. And there's a 35% chance of rain, which could make things even more interesting. So with all that being internalized, who would like to go first with a couple of picks?
I'm happy to go first. I'm pretty chalky this week. I'm going to start with Connor Zilish in the Xfinity race. He's minus 165. I actually have him parlayed with SVG to win the Cup race, plus 200, around 215, which is obviously very short, but I expect.
Wait, Zilly on Saturday, SVG on Sunday is paying 250 on a 2 parlay?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yep. And then I'm going to also I got a couple group winners. So if you go to driver props on DraftKings, Group B winner, I like Chase Briscoe. He's plus 300 to beat Chase Elliott, AJ Allmendinger, Chris Buescher. Dinger, obviously, and Elliott are good road course ringers. However, Chase Briscoe has been running really, really good. So I'm going to ride with Chase Briscoe. And then in Group C, the Group C winner, I'm going to take Ross Chastain, who's plus 220 to beat Ty Gibbs, Kyle Busch, and Alex Bowman. So those are my picks. I have 4 picks this week, 1 for Xfinity, 1 for Cup, and then I guess 2 more driver props for Cup. I'm also going to have a pick 6 that should be coming out tomorrow, or probably maybe by the time this is out. So keep eyes out for that on Twitter. But yeah, that's what I like this week. Chalky.
Love it. What do you got, Moon?
Have y'all seen SVG's top 10 odds? They're pretty
like
funny.
Minus 500, right?
Yeah.
No, it's minus 2,500.
Oh, shit.
Christ.
Chase Elliott, AJ Allmendinger, and Joey Logano, top 10 parlay. And then really from there, I kind of wanted to throw a wild one out there. And for some reason, I was just feeling a Chris Buescher Roval performance. I feel like he spoiled SVG at Watkins Glen a few years ago, and he's shown he's got some road course speed. And I haven't had one of my signature Travis crazy picks in a while. But I've got a Buescher feeling. I like Buescher at the Roval. So that's kind of my wild one. But then the top 10, Elliott, Allmendinger, and Logano. And that's all I'm doing.
I like him. You know what? Instead of Buescher, I took Joey as top Ford. Just because he's paying plus 400 as top Ford. Probably could have grabbed Buescher there too. Blaney. Either way, so I'm going Joey Logano plus 400 as top Ford. I'm going Christopher Bell plus 160 as top Toyota. I got a 3-pick parlay, which is Christopher Bell over William Byron in a head-to-head, Chase Elliott over Tyler Reddick in a head-to-head, and then Chase Briscoe. Hold on. So these are the head-to-heads. I have a 3 head-to-head parlay. Christopher Bell over Byron, Chase Elliott over Reddick, and I have Ross Chastain over Chase Briscoe. Right? That makes sense to you guys? Chase Elliott over Tyler, Chase Briscoe under Ross Chastain, and Christopher Bell over Byron. That's my 3 head-to-head parlay. I took Chase Elliott plus 450 on a top 3 finish, and then as a flyer, I took Christopher Bell plus 1,000 to win the whole fucking thing. So I'm kind of Christopher Bell heavy on my card this weekend, but I don't mind it. All right, that's it for us, man. I hope everybody enjoys the race this weekend. We'll be back to you guys next week on Rubbin is Racing.